Chiara. Good morning, Steve. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sonia, for having me on.
So I was just explaining that we are simply invaded by TikToks, Instagram Reels, and on social media with experts or so-called experts who advise us where to put our money. I'm trying to understand if there are some things, some red flags that we should be aware of to understand if it is a scam or a real opportunity.
Well, that's a good question. The reality is that there are so many endorphins and people get addicted to moving back and forth on the screen. But what you'll see is that when it comes to investing, there's no quick pill.
Mm-hmm.
It's an investment. So buyer always has to beware.
Aware of what?
Aware of the facts that when you're investing, you really need to know what you're doing or actually work with a professional that understands the market. There's no such thing as a get-quick-rich scheme. It just doesn't exist.
A first red flag would be if someone promises a real quick fortune when just investing €100 is not
No,
true.
that's something I would not. You're better off taking that $100 and investing it in yourself and educating yourself. That's what I suggest.
So we are in the middle of a hybrid war, specifically here in Eastern Europe, Romania, now the Republic of Moldova. Here the TikToks are sometimes very dangerous for people, and with a very precarious economic situation, people are willing to do maybe some things they wouldn't normally do. So what would you recommend our authorities to do in order to prevent this from happening?
You know, as far as the authorities and opining on what the government should do, what I can tell you is that, you know, the beneficial owner of TikTok is ByteDance out of China. And on the 17th of September, the United States is going to make a final decision. Either they're going to create or buy out TikTok with Oracle, which is one of the best companies in the world, and Microsoft jointly, or they're going to extend it. What's happened with TikTok, it has created a new economy. And with the advent of artificial intelligence, AI, which is an algorithm, all right, so when that happens, people can get easily believing something that's just simply not true. You can't take $100 and make $1 million. I wish you could. Let me know. I'll be the first one with you.
So again, the first red flag. When it comes to the Romanian authorities or national authorities, because TikTok operates in many countries, especially here in Eastern Europe, it played a crucial role in our elections. We see the same thing in the Republic of Moldova, where there are elections not many weeks from now. When it comes to our authorities, do you think that they should come with a clear message like you do right now, or maybe just intervene after the things happened? Because people sometimes believe that there is a statal interference in how I use my money, and they don't regard this positively. So how do you think they should tackle it?
The way that the Trump administration is tackling it right now, okay, either they're going to get bought out, okay, all right, and TikTok is willing to create just a U.S. app just for the U.S., but the point is that any market, it doesn't matter where it is, everything is connected to everything else. So the authorities here are obviously seeing what the outcome will be in the United States. So when it comes to a market, it's just like the human body. Your finger talks to your wrist, talks to your elbow. Everything talks to everything else when it comes to mathematics and algorithms.
Yeah, but the way the Trump administration is tackling this is not the only way. For example, European Commission has banned TikTok in all European institutions, and it's coming with a plan. For example, the Commission is now trying to understand what happened in Romania. So European authorities maybe have a different kind of approach. I was trying to understand if us as regular people can do something. Can we report it? Are the TikTok officials really willing to come forward and say that was a scam? Thank you for reporting it.
Let me say this. I'm not an expert on compliance of TikTok. But what I do know is that the customer or the potential customer has free will. And, and as a client, meaning a potential buyer of anything, all right,
Mhm.
you have to be wise in what you do. It's that simple.
So, if I may say so, if I had $100,
Mhm.
what would you recommend me to do with it? Because the TikTokers just promise a very quick win. You just said it's not possible. But what could I do to make more money out of this $100?
Educating yourself.
How? Because many people educate themselves on TikTok.
I think that's the wrong place to educate yourself. I mean, there are various other, reputable institutions out there that can educate you,
Mhm.
and some of those being, validating, a proper YouTube, validating those things. But more importantly, it's not that difficult to go buy a book online and read.
Mhm.
Okay, and
Would you recommend some authors on this
I
topic?
mean, yeah, I mean, I'd recommend Ray Dalio,
Okay.
okay, world class money manager. I'd also recommend, if you wanted to learn about the market in general, I'd read Market Wizards. So it'll give you a really good understanding of how people actually start in the market. Remember, the market's been around for a long time.
100 years at least. Yeah, but some people, especially now with the far right influence in
Mhm.
Romania, some people do not believe the authorities want the best for their money. So they say that all these experts you just quoted are just trying to make us invest in ways the market would want us to do, but not what would be best for me. How would you contradict this?
I mean, I would contradict it in a very simple statement. In order to get to where these investors are, they have a track record.
Mhm.
So when you're talking about Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, David Einhorn, Bill Ackman, Paul Tudor Jones, Ken Griffith from Citadel. I mean, these are icons of the world. Larry Fink from BlackRock. I can go on and on. And you should read on the history of how they all started. You have to start someplace in the market, okay? And it's difficult to take $100. You have to be capitalized. But before you become capitalized, you have to know what you're going to yourself, if you can actually inherently take that risk.
So if you were to start all over, what would you invest your $100 in?
Uh, if I could have invested all over, if I go back 25 years ago,
Mm.
or I would have just invested in the Dow Jones Industrial, just one
But
index.
we're not 25 years ago. Now the market is more complex and it's difficult for us to understand it.
It's simply impossible to take $100 and make it into $1 million. It's just not mathematically possible. All right. That's why you always have to be capitalized when you do any type of investment.
And you need to be aware of what's happening on the markets and on a geopolitical scale. Thank you very much, Steve, for being with us today. I hope people watching us understood at least the first red flag when it comes to TikTokers who who say that we're gonna be very rich.